nothing has been followed by the Israelis. If U.S. really wanted that whatever they are asking Israel has to be implemented or needs to be implemented, there were means to do that. In fact, Israel is so much dependent on U.S. that if U.S. only removes its warships, there are about 3 warships around Gaza, and the other aids, more than 50,000 bunker busters have been supplied. Tons and tons of arms and ammunitions have been supplied and continues to be supplied. The cash aid is being given to Israel, so none of them has been curtailed, despite the fact that the congressmen, both in the upper and lower house, House of Representatives and the Senate, they have asked, particularly, even including the Democrats, they have asked for the ceasefire, but nothing is happening. So that means it's going to be unabated. That means it's going to continue. That means Israel, what Netanyahu had said, once 19,000 people were killed there. The Israelis Prime Minister has made a clear statement that they would continue war until they achieve their goals. What are their goals? If the history is any example in front of us, even 1948, what they did was that they started destroying the villages, and then finally, after capturing 548 villages, and after displacing 700,000 Palestinians at that time, who then shifted to this belt of Gaza and this Palestine which we have today. So at that time, they had driven and they had captured. It appears that Israel is going to again capture the entire area, the leftover area also. Rafah final operation as per Israel planning, and Israel's chief of army staff's planning. They are going to really launch that final phase. And why Netanyahu had made that statement before the arrival of Blinken was basically just to tell the world that we will not accept any of such offer, and this limited truce, if we accept, we'll accept it if our prisoners are released. And the Israelis want their prisoners released, and they are not giving any assurances to release the Palestinian prisoners. They are not giving any assurances for a long-term truce or for the end of the war. So that is a clear indication. And if we recall, Israelis, they wanted Egypt to allow and to create some facilities in Sinai so that the Palestinians could go there. But Egyptians, they know it quite well that the Palestinians, if they are pushed from that land, they would not be able to go back there because that land would be again captured. So there were at that time, once 1948, and then there was a war in 1956, there was a war in 1967, there was our Lebanon War 1 in 82, and Lebanon War 2 in 2006. At all these times, there were Security Council resolutions. There were again statements by the United States for Israel to follow certain points, but none of them were followed, and Israel did what they wanted to do at that time. So if we keep all these
it looks also, Ambassador Jamil, that this is going to be exactly what Israel wanted, and as per its whims and demands, there will be statements, but it doesn't seem as if there is going to be concrete action. Dr. Ambassador Jamil, my next question is twofold. The number of Palestinians that have been killed or maimed or injured has crossed 100,000 as we speak. And then the Israeli strikes in Rafah, around Rafah, in Gaza, in the West Bank continue as well. And I have a whole list of areas where in the last 24 hours Israel has bombarded or has attacked. My first part of the question is, when and how will Israel stop? My second part of the question concerns the International Criminal Court and the fear that is there amongst the Israelis that many of the top Israeli leaders are going to be issued, arrest warrants by the International Criminal Court. The Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs warns top officials of possible arrest, although the ICC has not confirmed issuing any. Also, Netanyahu says that if the arrest warrants are issued, it will be a scandal on a historic scale. How do you see this whole ICC issue as well?
Not only that, Netanyahu says that there would be a collapse of International Criminal Court, because then they would initiate a counter measure against it. I think they have already challenged United Nations Charter, and this is one of this particular statement of Netanyahu is once again is challenging the United Nations Charter, because ICC it was established under the Charter of the United Nations, and challenging United Nations Charter by itself, because Israel has no respect for the international law, and ever since it came into inception until now, there are more than a dozen Security Council resolutions which has not been followed and which has not been adhered to by Israel, which is a clear indication that Netanyahu is not going to accept it. And then another question arises, that arrest warrant, would that be executed if the top officials whose warrants are issued by the ICC, would they be arrested if they go somewhere in some other country? Because then it becomes a binding on those respective countries to help the prosecutors, to help the International Criminal Court to arrest those people against whom the warrants have been issued. So that is yet to be seen, because the countries so many countries, there are scores of countries where demonstrations are taking place, where the public protests taking place, where the public sentiments are altogether against the human rights violations which is taking place, against the genocide which is taking place in Palestine. So all these, in the face of all these things, to what extent those countries, particularly the governments of those countries, would be able to implement this, my understanding and my analysis on it is that it will be very hard for any country to implement those arrest warrants, because there would be a continued pressure of the United States and its allies on these respective countries, and they would follow it up as well. Like whenever there is a Security Council resolution.
Jamil, to be very frank, I don't know how things are going to move along. There seems to be some positivity, but a lot of, pessimism also that is prevalent amongst the Palestinians as to where, what their future holds and what is going to happen in the next couple of days or the next couple of weeks. A lot of speculations, a lot of question marks. Let's hope all these question marks are answered with a lot of positivity. And we also see a change that is happening within the US as well, with the Associated Press reporting that 900 plus arrests have been made within the universities, different universities in the last few days, and the protests that have been going on in all big universities in the US that are protesting this very attitude of Israel and the backing of the US as far as Israel's attitude is concerned. A change is coming within the US. Will that change be prevalent and relevant to the current situation? The next couple of days will tell us, and of course we'll be highlighting that in the days to come as well. Thank you very much, Ambassador Jamil Ahmed Khan Saab, to have joined us for this very important first segment, and we hope to get more of you in the coming days as well. Thank you, sir, to have joined us. Let's